So I don't know. I mean, I think.
Are you going to get one of them Xboxes?
No, let's talk about Microsoft now, because a lot of all these questions are are about the Xbox. Yeah, I don't know that Microsoft made the case on why we need to buy an Xbox One X, or really why
Because there isn't one.
Or even why it's worth $100 premium over a PlayStation 4 Pro. Because it doesn't.
Isn't.
Because they've been saying all along, okay, finally we're gonna have native 4K and 60 frames per second, but now it's like, well, Forza has native 4K and 60 frames per second, but other games maybe not so much. Checkerboarding, 30 frames per second. The games that we saw on the One X, they didn't necessarily look like they were that much better, or even noticeably better than.
They're crisper.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you where you really would notice this would be at a show like E3, where your head is so close to the screen 90%,
and
of
where
the
you're
time.
looking at screens all day. Like, you should be able to pick it up.
Right. That was always one of my pet peeves at these shows, was that the games look blurry a lot because you're a foot away from a 32-inch screen. Now you got 4K. That's where 4K really shines, is when you're close to a big screen. Most people in their living room are not that close to a big screen.
This is still a premium product for people who want it. It's nothing more than that.
Right.
And I think the branding is horrible. The branding is absolutely horrible. Just adding an X on the end of this thing.
It just how about a question mark instead? How about Xbox One question mark?
It just tells you. It tells people absolutely nothing about what the product is. Right. And I've had numerous people at work this week come up to me and say stuff like, so are they going to stop making Xbox One games because they're coming out with a new console now? Or like, are they going to make Xbox One X exclusive games? And I'm just like,
how can you solve that? How can you solve that in the name? I don't know if that's something that you can necessarily.
You put a Pro or an Elite after it, because then people understand that it's just a premium version.
Deluxe, like deluxe maybe?
Yeah, deluxe or
Xbox
Ultra.
One Gold.
That's perfect. They have the gold thing going already.
Platinum. Let's go fucking platinum.
Yeah,
that bitch.
Anything but literally the most variable letter that you could add after something.
Right. It basically means unknown.
Right.
Yes.
It no idea what that means if you don't know what this thing is.
Especially to an engineer that works in math all day.
Right. And some people, like, I was complaining, just like stating what I feel about the name on Twitter. And people were saying, well, did people have similar reactions to like when the Xbox One S came out? And they didn't, because I don't think most people knew that it exists. Like I'm talking about people who aren't reading gaming sites and listening.
Because that kind of that essentially replaced the
It essentially replaced it, and I also think a lot of people probably just think it means slim, because it's a familiar concept that, hey, these things get smaller when they revise them. I don't know that most people know that it is like a slightly beefed up version of the Xbox One.
Right.
So yeah,
but it's not really important, since they're the same price basically now. Now they're fucking so cheap.
Yeah. This just seems like such a misstep on, like, if you were going for like a new product launch, that they were kind of like pretty heavily like touting this thing as their like next big thing. And then you just like march out with this name. Like Scorpio, it didn't mean anything either. That would still be a terrible name, but at least it's a name. It's something. But I think Xbox One something, not X.
It doesn't answer any questions or give you an idea of anything. Yeah. I don't know. It's not a good, it wasn't, I agree. It's not a great name.
What about the price point, you think? I think the price point's what I said it was.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised by the price. And look, the S is going to be so cheap by the time it's already cheap. I've already seen this week, I've seen a 1S with an extra controller and either Battlefield 1 or the Minecraft bundle. It was like $205 or something, or just $200. Basically, they're making it cost around $200, either with a gift card value or just straight up fucking $200 with games and an extra controller.
It's cheap. I think they might have created an issue for themselves too here with the odd branding, in that they have to get the message out that this thing plays the same games as the Xbox One, because obviously I've had people already ask me, like, is this the next Xbox, and is the Xbox One, like, should I not get that now? Because like they're going to stop making games for it, which isn't the case, obviously, to people who know. But like, you go into a store and you see the one that's $500, and there's a tendency to think like the $200 one, that must be the old thing. I don't want to get that. I mean,
because the price difference is so great.
The price difference is so great that it doesn't make sense to buy the cheap one. But then, hey, look, PlayStation 4 is right here, and they're still making games for that.
Right. There's no question what the difference between the PlayStation 4 is and the PlayStation 4 Pro is. I mean,
right. Like, even if you only think, oh, well, that one might have a larger hard drive in it or something. Like, it's easy to like digest really quickly of like, okay, this is the. I mean, they named it the same as the Macs do. You have your MacBook and you have your MacBook Pro. It's very easy to understand what's going on in this situation.
Yeah. Yikes. Well, I don't think Microsoft's expecting to sell a lot of those X's.
But they could hurt the sales of just the normal Xbox with it as well.
I get it. Confusion is not a good thing that you want your customers to have. It sends them in another direction, away from your products. So I don't know. At Lucient2K2 asks, what is the goal of the Xbox One X? Become the next gen or be an equivalent of PS4 Pro for the current gen? How long before next gen consoles?
Didn't we just talk about this for the last 15 minutes?
No, what's the goal? Is there going to be another, like, is this just a stopgap for until Microsoft puts out a real...
plan is to not make another console for, maybe that is the plan. Maybe they, again, though, then it comes down to that next question is, do they just kind of slowly fade out making games that are compatible with the original Xbox One?
Yeah, I think eventually, but I think that we're a ways away from that. I think the goal is just to make these consoles that are incremental upgrades, like a Steam. Think about a Steam machine. Even though nobody bought those, and we didn't expect anybody to buy them.
So in other words, it's a terrible comparison.
Right? That's a great selling point. I'm surprised they didn't up in the press conference. Think of this as a Steam machine.
No, I'm thinking about, like, let's say, think of it as a Steam machine, but there's a lot of marketing behind it, and maybe not the best naming convention, but think of it as a Steam machine where all these games are backwards compatible with each other. And if you want to spend $1,000, you're going to get a more powerful machine than if you spend $500. But
do you think so? Games. Do you think that they come out with whatever the Xbox 2 before they fade out games working on the original Xbox One? Like, what comes
probably
first?
by the time that whatever comes next after Xbox One X, I think it's going to be a while. You got a couple more years, and
so they come out with the Xbox One XX, right? And games to the Xbox One XX don't play on the Xbox One, but those Xbox One XX games will play on an Xbox One X.
But I think.
That's
the problem here is who is making these exclusive Xbox One X games, because Microsoft doesn't have the development houses anymore.
Right. I think it's just going to be like PC. I don't think they're going to stop making games for the original Xbox One. I think it's all the same game. I think, if you do it like a PC, then it doesn't really matter. It's going to, it'll scale up to whatever hardware you have. There's no reason why you can't do that with the consoles. As long as you get the developers on the same page, I feel like you can do it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I think that's Microsoft's goal. And I think Sony, that's not their goal. I think the PS4 Pro is just, they can show that they have some a powerful console, but eventually they're going to put out a PlayStation 5. And they don't really care about backwards compatibility. So I think we'll see two different approaches from both of these companies. That's what I think. Let's see. Oh, there's so many questions. Anything we want to say about Nintendo? Or let me ask this question before we get off of Xbox. This is from Burgundy's Musk. He wants to know, why do you think Microsoft didn't have an Xbox One X available for pre-order right after the conference? That seems like something that people do at E3, right? They're like, that's what they did with the
people were cheering that you could pre-order games at full price during the Microsoft press conference.
That's right. And they cheered at the $500 price.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what's going on with that.
I can't think of any good reason why you would not want to take the money now while people are in a moment of weakness. Seems like a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
Also, at the real Dark Paul asks, do you think in the next year or two Microsoft will be able to finally deliver more must-haves? Can't rely on Forza, Gears, and Halo forever. It does seem like they're slacking off in that department. Like, seems like Sony has got. I mean, maybe these exclusives don't sell.
I saw one game that isn't a rehash of.
What do you mean rehash?
Well, I mean, they showed another God of War and they showed more Uncharted.
Sequel.
How is that different? How is that different than showing more Gears or Forza?
We got Spider-Man.
They didn't show Gears or Halo this year.
Yeah, I know. And they didn't show. They just didn't show anything. It's not that they didn't.
They don't have the development houses anymore.
No, and I don't know if they need them. I don't know.
They didn't know if they need them either, but now that Sony has...
Yeah, Sony is cranking out, they do have Spider-Man, which is going to be, that looks really, really, really good. But then
that
again,
looks like a system seller.
When is that game coming out?
Next year.
Early 2018.
Is it early 2018? I thought it was late 2018, but I believe you if you say early.
Well, we don't, that's what they say. Who knows what actually is going to happen.
Yeah, I don't believe it when they say that game is coming out early 2018. But whatever.
Okay.
I just don't know what else. Like, what else am I supposed to be excited for?
It looked pretty polished. So
pretty fucking good. I think Microsoft needs to get some more exclusives going. First party.
They have to buy houses though, or else they're just going to be getting like Tomb Raider deals, and that didn't work for them.
That doesn't do much, I don't think.
I don't know what the solution is there then, because they don't have many.
I mean, I guess the answer is yes, but do they really have the install base to make it profitable?
If you hit it big on the right game, but it's a crapshoot. It's risky.
Because Sony,
you got Sea of Thieves coming.
Yeah, Sony has better potential to have a first party hit based on consoles in homes.
Yeah,
theoretically.
Of course. Absolutely. No question about it.
So I could see why they would invest more in those games, because the potential to make a profit is greater than Microsoft that's losing this generation. And it may just not make sense to make that many first-party games when they may wind up making more money by just continuing the third-party model that, does fine for them.
Sure.
They're like the opposite of Nintendo. They're the anti-Nintendo.
Right. Speaking of Nintendo,
Microsoft has Crackdown coming as well.
Right, we didn't mention that, but we weren't impressed. Well, you'll hear about that later in our audio booms that we've clipped on to the end of the show. But I don't think either of us were too impressed with Crackdown.
Has Crackdown ever really been impressive?
Yeah, it's the first time it was. I thought the first time was really impressive. The second time was fun, but short-lived because the game was quite short. Third time, hopefully it's the charm, but I was not impressed with the 4K experience. Let's say it didn't seem to really add anything with that art style. I don't know.